Welcome back. It's still Plus Politics now. Sequel to the recently concluded party primaries, President Muhammadu Buhari has aggrieved members of the ruling All Progressive Congress APC to remain committed to its ideals in order to sustain the party beyond its present circumstances. Now, the president said this in Abuja when he met some APC senators on the outcome of the party primaries and their implications, saying that the leadership of the party would sustain the healing process that it started to ensure fairness, justice and oneness ahead of the 2023 general elections. Well, joining us to discuss this are Kunle Lawal, he's Executive Director, Electoral College, Nigeria, and Adewale Ademola, Justice, a political analyst. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Mr. Justice, can you hear me? Oh, unfortunately, we can't hear him, but I'll start with you. Kunle, it seems like there's fire in the mountain everywhere, literally. We just had a conversation about what's happening in the PDP versus Wike versus, of course, Atiku. But now the president is speaking on the issue of 22 senators who planned to leave the party. 2 have already left. But the 20 who are still in the party, the president has met with them, asking that the ideals of the party be preserved. But we know what happens after every primaries. We see these cross-carpeting. Is this enough pacification for those who still are within the party?
I think what makes it most complex is the fact that this is a president who has served 2 terms. If you remember what happened during Obasanjo in 2007, you had the same kind of issues. Whenever a president has served 2 terms, it is clear that the circus of power is going to change. And this balances, of course, people will align, politicians align with interests. Let's be honest with how politicians see things. Politicians separate mankind, of course, into 2 separate parts. One, tools, the rest, enemies. So, of course, we know that any movement from any party, be it PDP, NNPP, Labour Party, or APC right now, will be quite a serious issue. I think it's the onus is on the president, who also serves as the leader of the party, to try and quell these situations, because the truth is, power for 2023 is very, very open. It's not a walk in the park for anyone, like we saw in 2007, where we knew that PDP was just going to walk into the party gates. This is a whole different ball game, and we're really looking to the events that would change it.
Is this another 2015 situation for all parties concerned, especially the APC, because we've also seen a new movement, out there in the horizon that seems to be shaking the tables for the All Progressive Congress. Many have said in the past that the party came together just to get power and had foreseen the future and what would happen. Could it be that in the past 7+ years, the APC has not learned or even strategized to see that this might have come to play one way or the other? You
know that Nigeria, of course, we cannot ignore its size and its magnitude of the most populous black nation. So in making such decisions over 7 years, of course, the APC were new to power. And like you said, and I rightly agree, they were just a company or a conglomerate put together to take out the PDP in 2015. There was no plan generally after that. And now they have to try to create a survival technique to, of course, retain power in 2023. And this might align across certain interests, certain parameters. This is a whole new ball game, because what was constituted earlier had one target: remove good luck. Now you're trying to consolidate power, and you have so many vested interests, as you're seeing in the PDP, as you're seeing in the APC. These vested interests, of course, will not want anything to damn their own directions. And of course, they will take these parameters. It's a very interesting conversation, because Bola Ahmed Tinubu is from Lagos, of course. And then Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is from the north. As much as we want to blind ourselves, we know that they were going to play against nepotic lines. And we all know where the northern senators will go eventually, because the interests, of course, are guaranteed in that parameter, just like we can guarantee where the southwest senators and House of Rep will go. So it's a really dicey game. I look forward to a very nice game in 2023.
Well, it's very interesting. I think we have Ademola Justice on the phone with us. Mr. Justice, can you hear me?
Hearing you quite well.
Perfect. Now, we're examining what's happening within the APC and what the president has said recently to members of the Senate who have been planning, as according to Fani Kayode, who posted about it. And he's asking that the ideals of the party be preserved, obviously trying to pacify them and saying they have to work together. to win in 2023. But do you see these people staying, bearing in mind what's happening outside of the party, and that there have been movements within and outside the party? There are interests for every single person. Just as Kunle has said, many people might be voting across ethnic lines. Do you see the party disintegrating if something is not done other than the meeting that the president had with these senators?
Thank you very much. Going by what my friend and brother there, Mr. Kunle Lawal, has said earlier, I wouldn't say what we are seeing or what we are getting from the senators or some of the politicians in the APC, what they are saying or what they are seem to intend to do may be any form of cause to disintegrate the party. Because right before the primary, the party almost lost it. Because for the party leader to be in contention for the presidential ticket, vis-a-vis some other members of the party, showed the world that there was a very serious crack in the party. And like you have just suggested, if something much more serious than what we are seeing is not done, the party may find it all off. And if I may call your attention to something, you see, some of the members that are threatening or recorded, they were reported to be threatening, seeking to move. I don't see them as moving based on any act of sincerity. It's just a demonstration of their selfishness again. Because if they are not lucky at the primaries, none of them will be muting to lead. So they are just showing us the true nature of the Nigerian politicians. They are not there for anybody's interest, in their interest. But at the same time, Nigerians have this opportunity again to watch deeper what really makes these guys called our political leaders. Thank you very much.
Kunle, let me come back to you. Many have also criticized Mr. President as, before he even went into this meeting, many have said that he has seemed to be very aloof when it comes to party issues. He has stayed clear. And many have also, pundits have described the president's body language at the last, the party convention as one who was not necessarily in there for, whatever they were doing. He just appeared because he was the president and he belonged to that party. But do you agree that the president is aloof, even though he's on his way out?
Being honest, the president, the incumbent president of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, has never been a party man. He's always run based on ideology. He's not a party man. He doesn't build parties, or he has not been involved in building a party from scratch. Really? He has always had his number of voters, yes, but he's never influenced work within a party. He's not, how will you call, politically savvy, and he's had a laissez-faire attitude as regards the party. If you really look at it clearly, as regards the primaries, the convention, he just put his hands off. And he's just watched. Yes, though this might seem a little bit more democratic if you look at it from another angle. He might not be directly doing that, but this has seemed more democratic than you would have seen. Because we remember 2007, Olusegun Obasanjo was drumming everything and carrying an umbrella to everywhere you could ever check. And, he's kind of stayed and allowed the party internally perform its own, use its own mechanisms and then allow things happen. Now, as regards this interest, as much as these people lost, but they're politicians, and they have interests. If they lost their primaries in a party whose flag they've been holding, they would want to go somewhere while they're still sitting senators, where they'll be welcomed and promised something. It's normal law of things. It's not about selfish interest. It's still an intra-party game. And of course, everybody wants to be recognized. Who wouldn't want to be ambassador in the next dispensation? Why should you decide to be a lost candidate in a political party and go and sit down at home? I think that looks beautiful, and I'm sure it will look beautiful to everyone participating.
Mr. Justice, just as he said, the president, he thinks maybe democratic, to an extent for, handing off and allowing internal democracy. But we also remember the drama that happened just before the convention where the party chairman said he was the Senate president that was the pick of Mr. President. Let's not also forget that many people were rumored to also have been the president's choice, the likes of the transportation minister and even the vice president. And there were mixed, speculations as to who the president will hold, who the president would actually pick as his preferred choice. But then we saw what happened. The governors had their say at the end of the day. But going forward now, because, I mean, in a few weeks, we'll start seeing campaign trains, rollouts and in different parts of the country. Do we see a united APC going forward? And of course, there have also been rumors of, cross-carpeting from one party to another. The APC might be gaining some and losing some. But what do you see?
Thank you very much. Like my colleague has rightly said there, whoever knows the political history and nature of the present president, you will know fully he's not a party man. You understand? The quest for a man with integrity brought him on board. Quite unlike what we have in the days of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, you would see whatever he wanted politically, you would see him out there with all strength and mind. So, you see, in the just concluded APC primary, you would hardly be able to pinpoint what the president would actually want. He left it a while for the party. He allowed internal democracy, and he made almost everyone know for sure that he wasn't in support of any particular candidate. Good as it is for a democracy, but at the same time, there stands to be that quest for anyone in the capacity of the president of a ruling party to have a firm ground, so that will lead so many other party men and supporters of the party as to what good decisions to make. That is by the side. Like we are saying, really, cross-carpeting is not strange. It is definite, because like I said earlier, having lost out in the primaries, definitely politicians will seek greener pastures. They want to go to places or parties where they will be welcome. But like I said, if truly people are leaders who consider the interest of the electorate, it shouldn't be all this. Because like I have been asking, what value as a politician who has done as much as 10, 12, 14, 15, 20 years in a position still seeking to hurt that he has not added? Having been in the legislature for 4, 5, 6 terms, going back home shouldn't be a crime. If you have been eased out, you should, at the sake of political maturity, leadership maturity, accept it and let someone else come in. So cross-carpeting at the instance of a lost primary is a show of political selfishness.
Okay.
Thank you.
Finally, Kunle, the APC just resumed re-registration of young people. And many have hinted that maybe this might be because of the youth movement on social media and, of course, the amount of young people who have been registering to get their voters card. Is it not a tad bit late in the day to try to try to fish in, these youngsters? And is it just about the APC members, or are they trying to get new people within the fold? I
don't agree. If you look at Nigeria generally, this is the first time, based on the Electoral Act, we're having 8 months preceding an election. Yes. So the time is more massive. Before, we just had 3 months, 2 months. It was too short after a primaries to start attempts this kind of scale. So I think the youth leader has made pushed forward a very intelligent initiative, trying to counter what he's seeing with the youth in the PDP and in the Labour Party, which he's beginning to find, and the NPP, which is finding the APC is deficient in. And I think this is one of the key. I'd love to see more action from the woman leader, who, of course, is someone who we consider young. But, it's very disappointing to find out that the woman leader, no woman is carrying the APC candidate in Cross River State. So I'm very disappointed in the woman leader.
That's a conversation for another day. But I want to say thank you to all my guests. Kunle Lawal is the Executive Director of the Electoral College in Nigeria. And, of course, Ademola Justice is a political analyst. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being part of the conversation. All right. Well, that's the show tonight. We'll be back tomorrow with Plus Politics. Of course, we will be bringing you also a weekend recap as we talk about the best in politics, talking for development. I am Mary Anna Cohn. See you tomorrow.